What if I told you that 5 vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now could be silently sabotaging your heart health? Before you click away thinking this is just another health scare, let me share something that shocked even me as a health researcher. Last month, I discovered that my 78-year-old neighbor who had been following every heart-healthy diet recommendation for decades was still struggling with cardiovascular issues, the culprit. 5 seemingly innocent vegetables that cardiologists are now warning seniors to avoid or severely limit. Today, I'm going to reveal these 5 vegetables that could be working against your heart, especially if you reach over 60. But here is the twist that nobody talks about. It's not just what these vegetables contain, it's how your aging body processes them that makes all the difference. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which vegetables to limit, why they're particularly problematic for seniors, and most importantly, what delicious alternatives you can eat instead that will actually support your cardiovascular health. Let's start with the most shocking one, and trust me, this first vegetable is probably in your refrigerator right now, and you might have eaten it just yesterday thinking you were doing something good for your health. The first vegetable that's potentially damaging your heart is raw spinach. Now, before you start questioning everything you know about nutrition, let me explain why this superfood darling can be problematic specifically for seniors. Raw spinach contains extremely high levels of oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that can accumulate in your body over time. Here's what happens in your aging body that makes this particularly concerning. As we get older, our kidneys become less efficient at processing and eliminating these oxalates. When oxalates build up, they don't just cause kidney stones, they can actually interfere with your body's ability to absorb crucial heart-healthy minerals like calcium and magnesium. Even more alarming, excess oxalates can contribute to inflammation in your blood vessels, which directly impacts cardiovascular health. A single cup of raw spinach contains over 650 milligrams of oxalates. To put this in perspective, nutritionists recommend that most people limit their daily oxalate intake to 40 to 50 milligrams per day. That's more than 13 times the recommended daily limit in just one serving. If you're having spinach salads regularly or adding raw spinach to your smoothies, both popular recommendations for heart health, you could be inadvertently creating a perfect storm for cardiovascular complications. But here's the interesting part that most people don't know. Cooking spinach reduces its oxalate content by up to 90%. So, if you love spinach and don't want to give it up completely, lightly steaming or sautéing it can make it much safer for regular consumption. The alternative I recommend for seniors is Swiss chard or romaine lettuce, both of which provide similar nutritional benefits without the high oxalate content. The second vegetable that is concerning for senior heart health is tomatoes, but specifically for people taking certain medications. This is where it gets really specific to your age group because seniors are much more likely to be on blood thinners or blood pressure medications. Tomatoes are incredibly high in potassium, with one medium tomato containing about 290 milligrams. While potassium is generally heart healthy, if you're taking ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or certain diuretics, medications commonly prescribed to seniors for blood pressure control, consuming too much potassium can actually become dangerous. Here's the mechanism that makes this problematic. These medications are designed to help your kidneys retain potassium to balance the effects of the medication. When you add high potassium foods like tomatoes on top of this, your blood potassium levels can become elevated to the point where they actually interfere with your heart's electrical system. This condition, called hyperkalemia, can cause irregular heartbeats and, in severe cases, cardiac arrest. The tricky part is that many seniors don't realize they're consuming as much potassium as they are. Tomato sauce, ketchup, tomato juice, and even seemingly innocent tomato-based soups can quickly add up to problematic levels. If you're on heart medications, I recommend limiting fresh tomatoes to no more than 1 small tomato per day and being very careful about processed tomato products. A hard-safer alternative that gives you similar nutritional benefits would be bell peppers or cucumbers, both of which are lower in potassium but still provide vitamin C and other beneficial compounds. Now, the third vegetable might surprise you because it's often recommended for seniors: beets. While beets have gained popularity for their supposed cardiovascular benefits, there's a darker side that's particularly relevant for older adults. Beets contain compounds called nitrates, which convert to nitrites in your body and then potentially to nitrosamines. While small amounts of nitrates can help with blood flow, the problem arises when you consume them regularly or in large quantities, especially if you have certain digestive issues that become more common as we age. Here's what happens in an aging digestive system. As we get older, we often produce less stomach acid and our gut bacteria composition changes. These changes can create an environment where the conversion of nitrates becomes problematic. Instead of providing cardiovascular benefits, excessive nitrates can contribute to the formation of compounds that may damage blood vessel walls over time. Additionally, beets are extremely high in sugar, higher than many people realize. 1 cup of cooked beets contains about 13 grams of natural sugar. For seniors who may already be dealing with insulin resistance or diabetes, conditions that directly impact heart health, this sugar content can contribute to blood sugar spikes that put additional stress on the cardiovascular system. The better alternatives for the heart protective benefits you're looking for from beets would be leafy greens like arugula or watercress, which provide nitrates in more moderate amounts, or focusing on getting these compounds from herbs like cilantro and parsley. The fourth problematic vegetable for senior heart health is raw kale, and this one is particularly important because kale has been so heavily marketed as a superfood for older adults. Raw kale contains substances called goitrogens, which can interfere with thyroid function. Now, you might be wondering what thyroid function has to do with heart health, but the connection is more direct than most people realize. Your thyroid controls your metabolism, including your heart rate and the strength of your heart contractions. As we age, thyroid function naturally declines in many people. When you add goitrogen-rich foods like raw kale to an already compromised thyroid system, you can end up with a condition where your heart isn't getting the proper signals it needs to function optimally. This can manifest as irregular heartbeats, fatigue that affects your ability to exercise, or even heart palpitations. Raw kale also contains high levels of vitamin K. While vitamin K is important for bone health, if you're retaking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, which many seniors take to prevent stroke, the high vitamin K content in kale can interfere with your medication's effectiveness. This creates a dangerous situation where your blood may not clot properly, or conversely, where your medication becomes less effective at preventing dangerous clots. The solution here isn't to avoid kale entirely, but to cook it thoroughly. Cooking significantly reduces the goitrogen content, making it much safer for regular consumption. If you love the nutritional profile of kale, try massaging it with a little olive oil and lemon juice, or lightly steaming it. The fifth and final vegetable that can be problematic for senior heart health is one that might shock you: celery. Yes, that seemingly harmless, low-calorie vegetable that's often recommended for weight management can actually pose risks for older adults, particularly those with existing heart conditions. Celery is extremely high in sodium, much higher than most people realize. Just 1 cup of chopped celery contains about 96 milligrams of sodium. That might not sound like much, but here's the problem. Celery is often eaten in large quantities because it is perceived as a free food for dieting, and it's frequently used as a base in soups and stews. For seniors who need to watch their sodium intake due to high blood pressure or heart failure, celery can quickly contribute to sodium overload without you even realizing it. Unlike the obvious sodium sources like processed foods, celery's sodium content is hidden behind its healthy reputation. But there's another concerning aspect of celery for seniors. It contains natural compounds called psoralens, which can increase your skin's sensitivity to sunlight. While this might seem unrelated to heart health, many seniors take medications that already increase photosensitivity. When combined with celery consumption, this can lead to increased inflammation throughout the body, including the cardiovascular system. The inflammation connection is crucial here. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of heart disease in older adults. Any food that contributes to systemic inflammation, even in subtle ways, can compound existing cardiovascular risks. If you enjoy the crunch and freshness that celery provides, consider substituting it with jicama or cucumber, both of which provide similar textural benefits without the high sodium content or photosensitizing compounds. Now, I know what you're thinking. If these commonly recommended vegetables can be problematic, what should seniors be eating to truly support heart health? Let me share some alternatives that are not only safe but actively beneficial for your cardiovascular system. First, focus on vegetables that are naturally anti-inflammatory and support healthy blood flow. Broccoli, when lightly steamed, provides powerful antioxidants without the oxalate concerns of raw leafy greens. Carrots offer beta-carotene and fiber that supports healthy cholesterol levels. Zucchini and yellow squash are gentle on the digestive system while providing potassium in more moderate amounts that won't interfere with medications. For leafy greens, consider butter lettuce or Boston lettuce instead of raw spinach or kale. These varieties provide many of the same nutrients with significantly lower levels of potentially problematic compounds. Here is something crucial that many people do and understand about senior nutrition. It is not just about what you eat, it's about how your aging body processes what you eat. Your digestive system, kidney function, liver metabolism, and medication interactions all change as you age. Foods that were perfectly healthy for you at 40 might not be optimal at 70. This doesn't mean you need to fear vegetables or dramatically restrict your diet. It means you need to be smarter about your choices and preparation methods. Cooking most vegetables not only makes them easier to digest, but often reduces or eliminates the compounds that can be problematic for seniors. The key is variety and moderation, instead of loading up on large quantities of any single vegetable because you've heard it as a superfood. Aim for smaller portions of a wide variety of vegetables. This approach ensures you get diverse nutrients while minimizing the risk of consuming too much of any potentially problematic compound. Let me also address something important: medication interactions. If you're taking any heart medications, blood thinners, or blood pressure medications, it's crucial to discuss your diet with your healthcare provider. What I'm sharing today is general information, but your specific medication regimen might require additional dietary considerations. One practical tip that can make a huge difference is keeping a food diary for a week or two. Note not just what you eat, but how you feel afterward. Many seniors notice patterns once they start paying attention, perhaps feeling more energetic on days when they eat certain vegetables or noticing heart palpitations after consuming others. Preparation methods matter enormously. Steaming, lightly sautéing, or roasting vegetables not only makes them more digestible but often reduces the compounds that can be problematic. Raw isn't always better, especially for seniors. Timing also matters. Having these potentially problematic vegetables earlier in the day gives your body more time to process them effectively. Eating large amounts of high oxalate or high potassium foods late in the evening can put additional stress on your system while you sleep. Here's something else to consider: portion sizes. The portions that were appropriate when you were younger and more active might be too large now. As metabolism slows and activity levels often decrease, smaller portions of nutrient-dense foods become more appropriate. If you've been consuming any of these 5 vegetables regularly and are concerned, don't panic. The human body is remarkably adaptable, and making gradual changes is usually more effective than dramatic dietary overhauls. Start by reducing portions or changing preparation methods, then gradually introduce the safer alternatives I've mentioned. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Small, sustainable changes in your vegetable choices and preparation methods can make a significant difference in your cardiovascular health over time. Your heart health is too important to leave to chance, especially as you age. By being strategic about your vegetable choices, you're taking an active role in supporting your cardiovascular system for years to come. If this information has been helpful, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. Have you noticed any connections between certain vegetables and how you feel? What changes are you planning to make based on what you've learned today? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because next week I'll be sharing the 5 best vegetables for senior heart health, the ones that can actually help reverse some of the damage and support optimal cardiovascular function as you age. You won't want to miss that crucial information. Take care of your heart, and remember, knowledge is the first step toward better health at any age.